Well, the Chargers officially wet the bed.
Straight up beat down. Straight up beat down. Oh,
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
That's absolutely horrible. I mean, what an absolutely terrible game. I mean, it just they look bad on both sides of the ball. The second half we were just anemic, and I'll be honest with you, man. Like, this is probably the first game that I thought, wow, Greg Roman might not be our guy. Might not be the OC. I will say this though. I also do think that really our defense did not play great. Probably the first game I think we looked pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Calls and formations. Why am I drawing a blank on our defensive coordinators? Jesse Minter. Yeah. I don't know why I kept thinking something different, but this is the first game that I felt like he had a bad play. He called a lot of really bad plays. Like the 3-man rushes, we got burned every time on those. Yeah. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, guys. So a lot to discuss. And guys, I know we're here for a therapy session, guys. So
here to lick our wounds together.
Yeah, we'll lick our wounds together, guys. Let's get into it.
Let's go. Get into it. Boat Bros, let's go.
What's up, Pyramid, man? You watching the Boat Bros podcast. Stay tuned.
Charter blue dreams, stadium lights gleam. Boat Bros on the beat, lead stream. Chargers rocking speeds, Sonic supreme. From the podcast to the field, we're a team. Charged up, Boat Bros on the night. LA Thunder in electric delight. Bullets in the battle, sparking bright. Charged up, ride the lightning, feel the fright.
Yeah. So pretty bad game, guys. I mean, look, we see your comments. Everyone's pretty upset. We can see. The defense looked bad, man. Jesse Minter, I was so annoyed with those 3-man rushes that he kept calling. And I'm like, what is he doing? At least you can at least get good pressure with 4. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I was a little confused by that. Again, it wasn't just the offensively we looked anemic. So I mean, let's show you some numbers on that as well too.
Well, I mean, the whole thing too, and why you're going to that point, talking about 3-man rushes, like almost every single time we held them in coverage, but it allowed Baker to run around and make things happen.
Yep.
He could run the ball, or he could basically, I think the last touchdown on Mike Evans got, it was like, hey dude, just come on over here and I'll throw it to you. No problem.
Yep.
Boom. Easy touchdown. Like, 3-man rush in the NFL generally doesn't work for too many which ways, especially a guy that can run just a little bit. Like, he's not a Lamar Jackson kind of guy, but he can move. Like, and he burned us multiple times. What did Baker Mayfield had 2 rushes for 25 yards? It felt like a million times more than that, to be honest.
Right.
But bottom line, like, 3-man rush ain't gonna work, dude, and it leaves a lot of gaps. In numbers, think about it. 5 offensive linemen versus 3 defensive linemen, or 3 D line coming after him. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Like, so my question is, which was worse, the offense or the defense? I would definitely say the offense, because look at this, anemic second half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ugly, guys. And again, Herbert was banged up. You guys know he's got 2 bad ankles. He's struggling, but again, shouldn't have been that bad, right? They got a disastrous secondary. We should have burned them. We should have burned them, right? Even with the guys we got, right? And it looks like who went out?
Zion Johnson.
Yeah, Zion Johnson went out, but he came back in, by the way. He came back in. Man, I don't know. It's just there's something.
I'll give you a stat. Actually, I'm going to ask you, what is the average amount of points that we scored in the last 3 games as an offense? Just throw out a number.
I think it's 20 something.
21 at most.
Nope, it's exactly 17 for the last 3 games.
Wow.
Wow.
So, gosh. Bottom line, the thing is, though, this offense is not scoring, and something is incredibly wrong. Now, does it have a lot to correlate with J.K. Dobbins not being there?
Yeah.
Possibly. But even to say before that point, you still don't have these games where you're scoring 40. You don't still have these games that are scoring 24, even at that point. You're basically playing a very average offensive football. Now, going back to the whole Greg Roman conversation, I mean, when we hired him, when I shouldn't say we, because I'm not a part of the Chargers
When
organization.
the Bolt Bros hired him.
That's
When
right.
the
Hey,
Bolt
no,
Bros
yeah.
hired him.
Yeah, he's our inside man. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an inside man. Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that like when he got let go is because he had these really odd anemic base type offenses that just
Really,
couldn't figure
really
it out.
strange. Yep.
Yeah. And so like last time that we did score a good amount of points was against the Bengals. Ironically, that was the game that I believe J.K. Dobbins got injured in, correct? So like once again, like it's ironic that if we do not have a running game, and to be honest, it feels like we kind of always keep going away from the running game. We just cannot score points past dang near 17 at this point. I mean, 23 points we scored against the Ravens, and it's been 17 points for the last 3 games. Every single game. Like, not good. We're trending very much in the downward trend at this point.
See, my frustration though is this is to get to your point, right? Like, and to say it in another way, the offense has become very predictable, right? Somebody said that here. Yeah, Greg Roman getting predictable. It's the same thing every time. There's no motion. There's no nothing. It's like I understand the concept of old school offense. Okay, we're trying to do the old school thing, but you're not mixing it up. You're not giving the defense a split second to think, oh, they're going to run it this way or they're going to go this way. Nothing. It's the same thing. It's halfback dive right, halfback dive left, GT right, GT left. And it just goes, posts and goes and nothing. The screen game is anemic. I mean, it's just really weird, like very strange, right? And I don't understand how it's that bad, right? And I will say this too. Herbert's done a bad job of just holding onto the ball. Throw the damn ball. If you're going to get a sack, just throw it. Get it out of your hands and maybe get a roughing the passer call.
And maybe avoid the. I mean, sure, you can take the intentional grounding, whatever, but scramble a little bit. Just get rid of it. Throw it. Just, like around that area.
Yeah, right. The first Chiefs game, the motion misdirection is gone now that was that game. I agree.
Yeah.
And I just again in the NFL, if you're predictable, you're not going to be successful. And I think that's really what they're doing wrong. And it's weird. I don't understand what's going on there. I'm curious to see what Daniel Popper says. He'll probably bring it up pretty heavy. After this, this game for sure.
I mean, that one right there is rough. Look at the rushing yards there. Like,
just
rough.
Yeah, this guy killed us, Bucky Irving. He only had 15 carries too.
15 carries, yeah. Like,
so there was a play. There was a play that was I was going to say maybe the Mike Evans big pass that he got over 50-something yards. Right after that, second play after that touchdown when they got the ball back, Bucky Irving burned us for a 50-yard plus run. Like back-to-back explosive plays, 50 yards plus. That is showing a lot that our defense is not gelling, or there's some issues going on with the defense. It's not good to look at that at all.
Well, but again, I don't know that I would really call it the defense. Well, I mean, the defense wasn't good either. Let's make that very clear. But
they played terrible. You got 500 yards almost thrown on you. Like that is an awful defense. There's nothing positive in my opinion outside of this defense. There's maybe 2 plays I could think of that actually was a positive.
And number 7 got burned like crazy too. Right?
Yep. He got destroyed. He was getting picked on the entire game.
The entire game. As soon as Hart went out, because Hart I think got another concussion. Actually, does anybody know for sure what happened? Because I looked it up. I didn't see what happened. Anybody in the chat know?
I'll look at the gram here.
Look at
the gram.
Yeah, I think it was concussion because he slammed on his head pretty hard. So
and Christian Fulton, man. I mean, that's why the Titans didn't want to keep him, man. He was just struggling.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I don't, man. Yeah. And again,
it 100% was a concussion. He's out, so he's going to be out for the next couple of games probably.
Yeah, he'll be out for sure the Broncos game.
Well, and the other thing too is, our boy Tarheeb has struggled to tackle. He did a pretty poor job tackling. I mean, we're going to talk more about some specific things, but why did we not try and kick that field goal at the end there? What was it? The third quarter, kick a field goal,
get some points.
But it was a 10-point swing because they went for it, didn't get it, and then they scored a touchdown, and the game was over at that point. It was done.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, kick a field goal. And because it'd be a long field goal attempt, but
sure.
Cameron Dicker's nails, man. I mean, I don't understand, why they did that. I mean, it completely ruined the game, in my opinion.
They were up 12, 13 points, I believe, at that time. So even if you hit 3, you're still down by 2 scores regardless.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's 2 scores, but you still had a whole fourth quarter, right? You can score 10 points and at least,
I think the mentality was, hey, you got to get a touchdown now or this game's over with. And it unraveled from that point. So
but I don't agree with that, because at the end of the day, my point is, you fail on that, immediately you're entering failure into everyone's mind at that moment, right? So at least try and kick a field goal, put some points on the board, right?
Get maybe a little bit of momentum in there.
Exactly.
Positivity. Like, okay, cool, we scored. You're like,
but this is atrocious. Look at this, 500 yards. Man, and I was talking to my buddy, like, what about Jesse Minter? I mean, what's his future? I mean, right now, you might look back at this game and go, what the hell happened there, dude? Look, I've never thought Baker Mayfield. He's okay, but boy, we made him look godly this game. That's for sure.
I mean, we were getting burned on slants constantly, burned downfield. I mean, Bolton was getting toasted. I mean, it was not good. Yeah, rushing yards. I mean, the defense didn't show up. Period. Like, if Jesse Minter gets like interviews with a head coaching job, this is the one game they're going to say what happened in that game.
Yeah.
Like,
what happened? They're going to need all kinds of reasons.
Dude, look at that.
0.
That is not good.
6.
That is terrible, dude.
Yeah.
We did not get, guys.
Yeah.
You want to see one stat so far that has just absolutely destroyed us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at it, 0 for 2. See, again, that's
eight ended drives right there.
Yeah, it ended drives, and again, I know it might not have mattered that much, but at least kicking the field goal, you get the momentum, you kick the ball off, let the defense have a little bit of a breather. Stupid, dude. I don't know. Hey, but he only got 3 sacks, which is not good. But 3 punts. They had 0 punts.
Oh my gosh.
0 punts, guys.
What?
Yeah, I want to say pretty much from the end of the, I want to say it was the end of the second half or first half, I should say. The Bucs basically scored on every single drive from that point on. And so I think, what was it, like 6 drives or something like that? They basically scored on us. So, it was, they had a field goal before the first half, scored, touchdown next possession, field goal, touchdown, field goal, and then they had the ball to end the game. So that's not good. That's not good. You're not going to win that way. And it's funny, as I said this is going to be a high offensive game. Like, the way that the Bucs offense has been rolling recently, they have been playing phenomenal on offense, in my opinion. And they have the ability to drop 40 on any given team.
Yeah.
Well, they outplayed us today, that's for sure. I didn't think it'd be this bad. I mean, this was atrocious, you know, and you just got to wonder what's going on there. That's really interesting.
I really feel like our defense just totally got exposed this game for sure. Like that's a big problem in my opinion. But I do think that we really missed out because we didn't have Denzel on the field too. And like the last couple of games that he's been out, we've been really missing him a lot.
It's true,
and missing his leadership. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, it's a copycat league, guys. So I think the Broncos are going to play us exactly the same way Tampa Bay did.
Yep, slants.
Slants, and clearly they're doing a better job of freeing guys up. Of course, Mike Evans is a beast. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But man, that's bad. What's going on here?
Yeah,
carries though.
11 carries. 11 carries the entire game. You just can't do. You're abandoning one half of your offense at that point, and everybody can go. This is when you can do 3-man rush because you jacked up Justin Herbert's ankle. He's not like going to run too much.
Right.
You could do 3-man rush, put everybody in coverage at that point. You ain't going to run the ball on them at all either, too. So it's like you became a very one-dimensional offense at that point, too. So the big thing too about this game is that, like, with all the panic and everything after this game, because it definitely was not a pretty game by any means, the Broncos did win today, which pushed back the Colts. So there still is a 2-game gap between the Colts and the Chargers at this point.
Yeah.
And also the Dolphins lost too. So there is a 2-game gap between both of those teams at this point. So Chargers is sitting at the 7th seed. Obviously, we play the Broncos next week, Thursday. So we got a very short week. You got to get, bottom line, you got to let this one out of mind at this point.
Yep.
Just wash it away, move on, flush that down the toilet, on to the next at this point. You better be already looking at the Broncos game at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, Ladd looked good, but he's banged up. You know that. And again, I'm a little frustrated with the distribution. Right, I don't understand why we're rotating players in and out as often as we are too. I feel like sometimes people don't get into a rhythm. I don't understand why we're doing that. I get a little frustrated, but it's strange. You know, I don't get it. You know, there's not a lot of creativity on the offensive side of the ball. That part is very evident for me. But look at Elijah Molden had a great game, 8-2. Troy Dye 6-3. Well, I mean, Fulton actually statistically looked okay. I'd be curious to see what his PFF scores were because he got burned pretty bad. I'm sure it's going to be pretty bad. But DJ, Dayon Henley, Junior Colson had a decent game. Tarheeb got burned quite a bit too.
Yeah, but
he had that interception.
Yeah,
you know, he didn't tackle well. It's kind of like Asante Samuel. Right, Asante Samuel's very bad at tackling, so I'm curious if Asante will be back next week. Right, again, that's a bit of a quandary to me. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah,
they keep talking about his back and IR, and like all of a sudden something happened, and you know, there's those cryptic messages on Twitter from Asante that maybe they're sitting him for some reason. So I'm wondering what that's all about. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I saw him on the sidelines there hanging out and everything. Obviously, that doesn't say a whole heck of a lot, but I mean, he still has to get activated from the IR. So,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
But I mean, you play this way, you're not going to beat the Broncos next week, and then we're gonna be fighting these next the final two games of the season are going to matter. We're going to have to really try hard. You know, then 10-7 becomes very realistic, right?
Well, I mean, you don't want to go into this and say you play against the Broncos next week. We are playing against the Broncos next week on Thursday, and lose that one. And then you're like, okay, we are going to now hope that we're going to be able to beat the next two games at this point.
Right.
It's very Charger-esque to do something like this. And the unfortunate thing, and I can't remember who talked about it, and it might have been one of the pregame shows, they said, this is why you paid so much money for Jim Harbaugh to win these games late in December. This is the reason why you pay him this money. Now, we all kind of know, like, hey, like this team is going to be kind of figuring things out. I mean, they've pieced together a lot of players onto this team to fill some gaps and everything too. But this is where Jim Harbaugh makes his money. He's about going out and winning these big December games. And so please don't do a Charger thing on us and just destroy us and we get booted out of the playoffs or something like that. Like, please do not do that.
Yeah. Again,
definitely do not make it a Raiders victory that we have to win in order to actually do this. That would just not be fun.
Not at all. Not at all.
Awful.
It's Crosby.
Give them the Raiders a reason to play that game. No, please don't.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Crosby's out for the year.
Yeah, I saw something like that about Max Crosby getting a surgery or something like that.
Oh, dang.
Season-ending ankles injury. So he's gonna have.
Well, and what's the point? You may as well sit him so you can trade him off because I think he's got another year or so like that. But Greg Roman, I'm really curious to see what happens with him. Like Mark Trestman is a good offensive coordinator. He is arguably one of the best passing minds in the game. That's where Greg Roman was a good running part of the game, but we are not running the ball at all, right? So it's like, okay, well, what are you bringing to this table here at this point, right? So that's the argument there in my mind. Again, we don't want to beat a dead horse. I mean, Greg Roman's obviously going to take some heat on this. But this is ugly, dude. Yeah, I mean, this was not good. I mean, offensively and defensively, it was pretty bad.
I mean, the thing is though, too, Gus Edwards got to step up too. I don't.
He's looked bad all season.
I don't like pooping on players' names or whatever like that, But dude, he's been bad all season, just like you said. He's taken. I don't know. He's just not seeing the holes, or those gaps.
He's not hitting that hole like
right,
LT.
Hitting
that hole. That hole.
He's just like, you know what? He's trying to be like Derrick Henry, but he's not. He's Gus Edwards. He needs to play as Gus Edwards, not as Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like his physical game, he's not really going north and south. He's still trying to jump. Every time he moves, they catch him, and he's done. So it's like, well, dude, just hit the gap, just run aggressive north and south, and he's just not doing that.
27 unanswered points in the second half.
That's pretty bad.
That's awful.
It's not good. It's not good. I mean,
not good. Not good.
No,
not
actually,
good.
I think technically it's 30 points unanswered.
Is it 30? Oh no,
because they scored a field goal right before the half, right?
Well, but this is second half points. So
but they scored a field goal right before. So this is
so that's still in the first half of the game.
Yeah, but still, like I'm just saying, it's 30 unanswered.
30 unanswered, I guess, if you want to say, yeah.
Miguel, I always perform, dude. On let's get that straight real quick, sir. Okay, let's get that real quick.
Real quick.
All right, James. Well, you got some slides you want to show us too?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot of good to talk about this game, but there's one little bit here. You know, obviously Justin Herbert did get over 20,000 pass yards early in the game when there was hope in the game when he did it. So third youngest to basically get up to 20,000 yards in his career. Pretty crazy to see that. Interesting to see that Mahomes is not even on that list. So kind of crazy. And even to say Justin Herbert's even been out a couple games of last season and still was able to achieve 20,000 pass yards. So pretty cool. Shout out to Justin Herbert on that and toughing it out too, man. Yeah. Strength of 10 men. You know what I'm saying?
And again, guys, he's been playing banged up all season, right? Yeah. So I understand he's not played great, but it hurts.
Yeah.
Guys, he I don't know if you saw on the Chargers page, he walked up, signed some kids crutches, and he's doing some good charity things, and he had a knee brace, and he had like a high ankle sprain thing. Both of his ankles are messed up, and it's just so but this is a good point by LOD. This is what I'm saying. Mark Trestman, what's his actual title? He's like a passing game
coordinator of some sort,
something like that, right? So
I thought he was assistant defensive coordinator.
No, offense coordinator. So he's passing game guy. Yeah. So he's up in the box with Greg Roman. See, this is my point. I do wonder though if we're just not being imaginative in any way, shape, or form. Trestman spent most of his career in the XFL, yes, and he was the head coach of the Bears for a very long time.
Didn't go well. Yeah.
But again, he's arguably one of the guys that just has really good passing game, prowess, right? But I don't know. It's just it's weird. Like maybe they're not communicating, maybe they're not coordinating the passing game together. I don't understand why it's this bad.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, like Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh are obviously boys, and that's like the hardest part of this whole thing. So like when he was at the Niners, Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator all 4 years that he was there. Like it's. The thing is, though, it's hard about some older head coaches and coaches in general is that they'll always bring back their buddies, and think about it at your job. Like you'll always hire your buddy to bring him in, bring in your guys that kind of thing, and you don't want to kind of try something super new. Jesse Minter came over because obviously Harbaugh knew him. Trestman actually has connections with the Baltimore Ravens too, so there's like all those things. Now Trestman started as an offensive coordinator back in '89. And so he's been around for a long time, guys, doing this. And old school mentalities don't generally shift. Now, I remember, and I did say that I feel like Greg Roman's more of a stepping stone type of position to try to establish a run game. And I think that there will be a shift at some point. Now, I think Shane Day is going to be the guy that's going to eventually be the offensive coordinator because it seems like Harbaugh's been having a really, really good things talking about him. I mean, obviously, he's not going to knock any of his coaching staff by any means and saying they're doing a terrible job, but that's Justin Herbert's guy. Like, I don't think it's the time to switch over a completely new offense and once again give Justin Herbert a new offense going into a 6th year next year. It'll be 5 out of the 6 years or whatever it is.
Well, and I think this is where Harbaugh needs to step in and make some changes, right? And that's fine. Like, okay, dude. All right, look, these run plays that you keep running ain't working, so let's do something different, right? There's no pre-snap motion. I mean, guys, they were just sitting there. It was weird. And I'm like, why are they just stagnant? Like watch the Lions play, watch the Bills play, watch some of these other teams. They play inventively. Now, I don't know. I just get really frustrated. But someone made an interesting comment.
I think Miguel's comment's pretty funny. Can Adam Rank stop voting for us to win? Yes, he is the curse. Next week, do not vote for us to beat the Broncos. Thank you.
His name is Adam Stank, dude.
Adam Stank.
Adam Stank.
Yes.
Oh boy.
No, but bottom line, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lack of creativity there.
Yep.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Here's the argument. Look at the Bengals. The Bengals are not playing well, right? And arguably, Joe Burrow's having one of his best years ever, but they're still losing, right? And it's the same thing with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's had amazing years, and the defense hasn't stepped up. Up to this game, I think this is the first game that we've really, I felt like, wet the bed.
Yep.
Like legitimately peed the bed all over, all over the embarrassingly wet the bed. I mean, this was an embarrassment on like all levels, right? So, but again, we'll have to see what happens with that. But I just feel like you're right. Some continuity would be a good thing for Justin Herbert too.
Sure.
Yep.
Well,
absolutely.
Well, people are asking in the chat right now, do we keep Roman next
season?
He's
he's Harbaugh's boy, dude. Yeah, it's a package deal, dude.
I don't think I really don't want us to keep him, but if they, keeping him for that continuity would probably be the only thing because like he's only had the same offensive coordinator for 2 seasons in a row, right? And that was Lombardi, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
well, yeah, and again, Herbert's had a rough year. I mean, he's just gotten roughed up, and he will never use that as an excuse. And neither would Jim Harbaugh, neither would anyone on that team. I get it, but it's been interesting. I do think he needs to get the ball out of his hands a little more. Throw the ball away, dude. Like, stop taking these sacks. Like, he took a few hits that I'm like, bro, just throw the ball. Like, you can flick it out, so you don't.
Yeah, you can
just get rid of the ball. I don't understand.
You know where they're running. Just throw it over their head.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you throw it to the outside bounds, basically throw where it's uncatchable, essentially at that point. And sometimes maybe that'll even draw a flag of some sort, too. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing to see, and I think they need to give Justin Herbert a little bit more of an internal clock pep talk of some sort. Yep. Understand how to get rid of the ball. Remember when Phillip Rivers would basically kind of throw the ball at people's feet all the time?
Yeah. And Mahomes does that too.
Yeah.
Mahomes does a much better job of that. I don't understand why he's not doing that. I don't understand why they're not coaching that up. I would say, bro, you are banged up. Just throw the ball on the ground. Just find the guy, throw it 10 yards in front of him, make it an uncatchable ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we could beat a dead hearse on dead hearse.
Dead hearse. Well, you end in a hearse if you do die. Yeah.
Triple clowns over here, dude. Triple clowns.
Just to kind of talk about Justin Herbert, he did have a bad day all around. He had a bad day. He threw an interception.
That's terrible.
So he threw an interception, so that record's over with. It was by one completion that he basically would have, or at least, pass attempt that he would have been able to go past Tom Brady and not throwing an interception.
Yeah.
So
you know what? That was Tom Brady's black magic.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
Tom Shady, dude. Tom Shady.
Dude.
You know what? Maybe the problem was too is that Justin Herbert cut his hair before this game.
Hey, he's 0-2.
0-2 with the new haircut.
0-2 with the new haircut, man.
Oh, not good.
Really like Samson from the Bible,
Super cuts, dude.
His
super
power
cuts
comes from the long hair, man. You gotta keep that
super cuts.
No.
Dude. Super cuts.
Super cuts.
Dude, no, that was sports clips, dude. Everybody don't go to sports clips.
Sport clips.
Yeah. Curse.
Every Chargers fan needs to ban sports clips from now on. Cancel them. They ruined our boy.
Skeptic Center ruined our boy. A couple lessons learned and evolve.
Boy. Yeah,
it's a good point.
Not good. But yes, Skeptic Sinister, man. The thing is, though, like we talked about, you got to take this game, flush it. You got to get out of mind at this point. It's a very short week ahead of us too. Yeah. The Broncos just basically throttled the Colts. They had a crazy pick six that was like this trick play that the Colts try to do. I mean, if you come out of this 0-2. It's going to be critical red alert at this point for the Chargers. And you're playing 2 games on the road, 1 in New England, 1 in Vegas. This is going to be a dome anyways, no big deal. Sure. But New England is pretty cold this time of the year, by the way, guys. So
you don't want a snow game.
Nope.
You got to go out. You got to beat the Broncos. It's almost a must win at this point. Now, once again, the Broncos beating the Colts does us a favor. Still puts us 2 games back for the 8th seed, 9th seed, and 10th seed, actually. Mm-hmm. So basically the Bengals, Dolphins, and Colts are in a tie right now for that 8th seed at this point. Now, conference records and all these different things kind of get involved. But bottom line, you got to beat the Broncos next week. That puts a big gap between them. You have a tiebreaker situation at that point. Unless the Chargers are really trying to shoot for the 7th seed. And 7th seed basically means you play the number 2, which would be the Bills.
So the good thing about the Chargers, well, actually not really a good thing, but the Chargers play the Broncos, then they play the Bengals, and the Bengals are a team that are still going to try to,
No, they don't play the Bengals. That's the Broncos playing the Bengals.
No, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, pay attention. The Broncos are playing the Bengals and the Chiefs, but of course, I don't think the Chiefs are going to care the last game of the season. They're done. So, especially with Mahomes maybe being hurt, so we'll see what happens with that. But and by the way, does anybody have an update on that? Because it sounds like it was just a high ankle sprain or something like that. Of course, Herbert's had 2 of those, so and a foot injury and some sort of knee contusion. It sounds like he's got a big bruise on his knee. Literally, guys, he was limping to this kid to sign some things for him, so he's banged up. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, speaking of another banged up player, Ladd McConkey got out there, balled out still too. A lot. I mean, this time of the year, nobody's healthy. Bottom line, nobody is healthy, and even to say with Patrick Mahomes,
a possible MCL.
Yeah, it's just like one of the doctors on Twitter saying that. Yeah, it's like it's also looking
talking about
right knee
Mahomes?
twisting.
Yeah, Mahomes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. But they were taping his ankle though, so that's kind of a strange thing that they would do that. So
the NFL is like known for lying about injuries and stuff like that. But
act like it's an ankle. Act like it's an ankle.
Yeah. It says right ankle gets caught, eversion mechanism, which can cause a high ankle or medial ankle sprain. Also looking at the right knee twisting, which would be concerning for MCL, but not sure that's the problem. Hope he's
Yeah. That would be pretty crazy. But guess what? We've heard this high ankle sprain business, and then he still goes out and wins a Super Bowl, and just like it adds to the lore of who.
Yeah, he really
Patrick Mahomes is, dude. And it's like
injuries, just so he can rest for the last couple games of the season. Because they don't matter anymore. They already got their ticket punched.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
and again, they have nothing to play for at this point. If I was them, I would just sit him out. Why not?
I haven't seen one of these in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Streaming things.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Either which way, Ladd McConkey's out there doing his thing. Once again, Tarheeb's he's over here quieting the crowd, I think, for some reason. I don't know why you would do that when you're at the home crowd, but basically solid pick once again. I think this is the first rookie since who was it? There was one Charger rookie that got like 5 picks in their first season.
Was it Cromartie?
No, I can't remember who it was. I remember reading it on Twitter or something, but it was the first one since it's like from the 70s or something crazy like that. Like,
wow.
So really, really big. And it's great to see Tarheeb still stepping up too. And if you watched his interview that he had earlier this week on Chargers Weekly, it was pretty cool to hear what he talked about with Cam Hart when they basically get their chances and what they'll basically do together. Playing on field, and that they basically want to take those positions. And, I think at this point that Tarheeb still's got it pretty solidified for the corner position.
Yeah, he's good. And
good.
I do wonder what's going to happen with Cam Hart. I do. Yep. I mean, look, at this point, we probably need Asante Samuel back. I think he's eligible this week to come back.
Yeah.
I would say I'll tell you right now, I think we should probably sit Fulton or put him on a rotation.
Yep.
Because he's getting
just
toasted.
Torched.
Whatever's going on with him, dude, like, put him out. At least let him rest a week or whatever, right? Yep. 17 points a games, guys. But I guess my point is, yes, the defense did not play great, but the offense has played poor all season. We have been very predictable. QJ looked pretty good. I mean, he still looked all right. Didn't look great, but yeah.
But the thing though, I personally feel like QJ has actually stepped up quite a bit. I feel like for some reason or another, when he had those 2 games, I feel like he's done a lot better as a receiver. I think it was Mark Sanchez talking about on the game too. He's like, man, everybody grows at a different level in the NFL. It's not like you come right out of the gates and you just fire immediately. It takes time to adjust. So I think that it's more or less that QJ is kind of adjusting at this point. And I think he's getting better for sure. So.
Yeah, and Fulton says, Bolt Lang says Fulton has not been the same since his injury.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
And everyone's playing hurt, guys. We all know that. Every single player out there is playing hurt. I mean, even Mac was talking about it. I wouldn't suspect a lot of these players like Mac and Bosa are going to be playing much or practicing much this week. They're going to probably just rest them as much as possible and try to be ready. I mean, look. This is a playoff game against the Broncos. If you win this game, you're locking a playoff spot. right? So that's why it matters.
Big time. And once again, a lot of the Chargers fans that seem to show up to this game were pretty loud and everything too. But I did see some photos that we'll show kind of a little bit later on where the crowd did look pretty Bucks heavy there too. There was a lot of red in those stands. So
and shout out to Primo Pablo. He actually called me while I was setting up the stream, man, and he was like, just like, wanting to get some little preview of our show, and he was like, "Oh man, we're doing terrible." Like, and he was still in the stadium, and he was just like, like we're like, man, I know this. So it was quiet. That's the problem. It was so quiet in the stadium that he was able to call me on the phone.
Yeah,
so I was like,
that's a big problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah. So.
Oh gosh. Well, Elijah Molden, he got that fumble recovery too. They've got a lot of these guys that we've been signing that have stepped up, and I think Elijah has really stepped up quite a bit in his position. I want to say even Alohi Gilman might. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to get off the IR this next week too. By the way, I mean I think a shorter week. I'm not sure if he get activated yet. But
we can look at the let's look at the IR as well too. We can pull that up here in a second
for sure.
Just because I think it is interesting to see. I mean, again, what's even happened with Rump Shaker? He's been on the IR all game, like all season. Like, well, what's going on here with that?
Yeah, preseason pretty much. That's ended his season for some reason, and for whatever reason, he's pretty much out. And sucks to see that. But we got guys out there that are doing well. It's just unfortunate that I just took a screenshot of the halftime stats and everything too, and it seemed kind of a manageable game at that point. And what's sad about that is that when you look at it, you say, okay, you have 142 total yards at that point, 114 passing. You seem like you're going to be at a kind of a relatively good position. And then guess what? You don't really gain a whole heck of a lot from there. It's just basically you end with a total of 206 yards. And so you basically got shut out by a defense that's statistically giving up 370 something yards a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ugly. And my buddy that is like a Steelers fan, he always kind of texts me things about Greg Roman. He's like, this is the reason why you're understanding why Greg Roman got fired. Because it's basically just like his offense sometimes just doesn't show up. It disappears. Think about the time that the Chargers beat the Ravens in the playoffs, 2018, I believe that was a Greg Roman offense. How many sacks we got out of that, turnovers, everything like that. We made the Ravens look really bad, and it's just showing up at the wrong time, or his offense doesn't show up at the right time, I should say. Is that the right way to say it? But either which way, it's tough to see that, guys. I mean, this is a defense that should be giving up over 300 plus yards, but we basically got smoked, and now they look like an absolute stud defense.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and again, good point. Yeah, LOD, all their defensive backs were hurt. I mean, my buddy came over, and we watched the game. He's a Tampa Bay fan. I mean, he's no longer invited into my house ever again. Just want you guys to know that he cannot enter into my abode ever again.
Nope.
And so, but I mean, I'll just say this, like he was like, dude, we're gonna get torched in the second half. Our secondary is terrible, and we just.
Yeah, and
we didn't do anything.
No,
nothing happened. And so again, ugly is the right word for it. So for sure,
Taylor, man, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Appreciate it. Super chat, man. Thank you so much. But we need an RB1, and RB1 is sitting on the IR right now for us. That's J.K. Dobbins, unfortunately. But look, man, looking at the draft. And what's coming up, and I don't even like talking about it at this point because there's still meaningful football in front of us. But one guy, obviously, Ashton Genty, that would be a dream for us to basically get. That would be an absolute perfect fit for this team in a lot of ways. Now, I will say here,
what's this?
ASU's running back, Scadabu, or whatever you say his name. That guy is an absolute physical beast that would fit so well for the Chargers. If you've ever watched anything that guy is a well-built dude that could basically just bury people. And his missed tackle rate is like tremendous. His yards after missed tackles is insane. This guy would be a phenomenal back for this team. And I don't know where he's going to be ranked at. Obviously the combine's going to probably dictate that for him, but I know he's kind of a slightly slower back. But I think if he gets into that 4-4-5-ish type area, I think he will be a phenomenal back. in the NFL. I see him as like a 4.5, which obviously is way faster than I could ever run in my life. But if he gets in that 4.4 zone, he will be a great pickup for the Chargers. He fits that physical, just grinding out type running back. Oh my gosh, I would love to have him on the team. If you could even bring back J.K. Dobbins with just like a smaller, like maybe 2-3 year type contract with Scatterbo, this would be a beast of an running back.
And it is interesting because I think we're definitely ahead of schedule in defense in this. And again, I still don't like calling it a rebuild because I think the team has everything they need. But what they don't have is, guess what? Depth, right? They don't have a lot of depth behind our starters, right? So J.K. Dobbins tapering off, right? And so Simi Fehoko. The reason why I like Simi, though, guys, is he's a very good blocking wide receiver, so he helps in the running game as well, too.
Yeah, big time.
I want to add some some weight on him and have him, maybe become a tight end would be pretty good. Gilman did a good job. Hayden Hurst is a better pass catching tight end, and he's a very good blocker, right? So having him out as long as we've had has not helped us. Tyler McLean's obviously a rookie. Nobody cares. Brendan Rice, again, we haven't been able to see anything. Nothing's going on with him. Who knows? Chris Rump out all season. Asante, say what you want to say. He's probably better than Christian Fulton at this point. You probably want to put in Asante over Christian Fulton. That's what I would do because Cam Hart probably is out with a concussion.
Yep.
If Asante can come back this next week, I would say put him in.
Yeah.
And then you got Asante with the Rook out there and see what they can do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's crazy, man. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's totally like a bolted up or
bolted up blue.
Bolted up 99 cents. Let's go, Alan. Thank you.
99. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting about Pipkins. I read an article that he's definitely not going to be our right guard next year.
No.
He will be one of those guys that will let go and hopefully get a comp pick for. But be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, the whole thing about Pipkins coming into this year, I mean, he was $8 million, and if you cut him, you don't gain any money at all. It was like a guaranteed $8 million for him. So it was like, why cut him? You might as well just keep him at this point.
Yeah.
So like, once again, when a new regime comes in, they inherit players, they inherit contracts, they inherit situations like that they just had to like run with them. I guarantee that Pipkins is end up going to the Raiders next year. Watch. If Tom Telesco's there, he's going to the Raiders.
Well, that's even if Ron Tabasco is even the general manager. I mean, you never know. I mean,
man, that'd be wild.
The Raiders organization is such a dumpster fire. Like I was talking this again. I don't want to belabor the point, but he was like, "Oh yeah, we're getting Shadir Sanders." I'm like, dude, that guy's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that guy. I think running quarterbacks in the NFL don't work out. Look at what's happening with Richardson at the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's very few running. Well, actually, did Lamar Jackson get hurt this game as well too? No, he didn't get hurt. They just had
no.
You look at the history of them. Cam Hart.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Running quarterback didn't really end up doing well. Who else? Michael Vick was a running quarterback. Didn't do well.
Yeah, he was the start of that whole running quarterback type of idea,
Lamar Jackson is a great, running quarterback, whatever. He's gone there, but he hasn't won. So the big thing, the big game. So
So false sense is hope. Now, you know what? Honestly, though, I think we've been good. But again, we haven't been great, right? We've been competitive with every game up to this point. This was a shellacking, but that's why this game is so troubling, in my opinion. Right? Again, we almost beat the Chiefs twice. We probably should have beat the Chiefs twice. Could had an opportunity to beat them.
Yeah,
just didn't win.
Right.
So again, that's the difference.
Wait, what is our phrase? What is our phrase? The Chargers. We lose big and we win barely. Right? Is that or is this like we almost always win? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll say for Alan's comment there, I think what he's really pointing is that we haven't beat a good team. I mean, basically the only team that we won, two teams I could say. We beat the Broncos the first week, but I think they were figuring themselves out by that time. That was like, what was that, week 6 or whatever it was. They were still figuring themselves out. The other team that we beat was the Falcons when they were a winning team, but they are floundering as a team too. So all these teams that we should basically win and at least beat a good team, we have not done at this point. And that's, I think, really what he's trying to state, that it's like, we just cannot beat the good teams. And you can't go in the playoff expecting, oh, now we figured out how to beat a good team.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
expect that. You can't
Well,
expect
and like I said, we need to be more consistent. I think defensively up till this game, we've been more consistent, but offensively, we have been very inconsistent the entire time. We're just not playing well.
Last 3 games, we've only scored 17 points. Exactly. Last 3 games. That's not winning football, especially with this defense right now. Like,
simply unacceptable.
Not good. Not good.
Yeah, they got to eat the Wheaties, man.
That's right.
They got to eat that Wheaties.
I don't know, not Wheaties, Wheaties.
Wheaties. Yeah. I mean, it is a bummer. I mean, guys, this game is definitely unacceptable. Mr. J,
man, thank you for the dollars. Thank you, my friend.
I feel like smoking a J after a game like this.
Oh man,
big one, dude.
Might need to lace it with some arsenic, too.
Yeah.
Just
some bleach. Chase it with some bleach.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna throw a couple quick slides. I like looking at both sides of the whole game too, and I picked up some pictures off of the Bucs website, and Baker just destroyed us. He baked us. He was baking us, cooking us, whatever you want to call it. He was
definitely cooking us up.
And
that's right.
I mean, the one thing we chatted about this in the pregame too, like, we kept saying thunder and lightning. We're trying to figure out swashbucklers or whatever type of term that we want to call their running backs, because I mean, Bucky torched us. Rashid White torched us. I feel like, I mean, they got 200 something yards on us and over 500 yards of total offense on us. I mean, they just cooked us. And one thing that Harbaugh said after the Chiefs game is that it's about how you recover on the next game. Well, the recovery was awful on this game. Like, absolutely terrible.
Got beat twice.
In this, and I mean, it was a doink against the Chiefs game. You hope that doesn't sit there and sits in your head, and like that psyche kind of just stays in the back of your head. You've got to flush this game out quick, because you got a game on Thursday. Broncos are coming off of a win over the Colts right now. Big win for them. Broncos country was talking a lot about how that was a must win. And what did they do? They won that game, and they made it happen. They separated themselves from that 7-8 seed at this point. 2 games. I mean, it did a favor for us because it separated them 2 games for us too at this point, but you got to flush this one. The recovery from last game was bad, and so we got to get past that. Mike Evans torched us. I mean, I saw him signing his cleats on the sidelines, probably to throw into the Hall of Fame or something crazy like that, because that's where he's going at that point, or maybe he was giving it to a fan or something like that. But I mean, the old guy's still out there balling. Doing his thing. So, bottom line, we got out-muscled this game. We got out-physicaled 100%. I mean, the Bucs were just all over Herbert, hurting his ankle. Look at that taped ankle there, by the way. Oh, my gosh. That thing is –
look at
that thing is – that is a straight-up boot. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and he had a sleeve on his leg all practice. And, and so it's – he's been banged up, guys, and again, it's not an excuse, but he's not 100%. None of these players are 100%, but this is where I think Greg Roman needs to become a little bit more, let's scheme guys open. Let's run more mesh, let's run more, screen passes. There's just things that get the ball out of his hands fast.
Yeah.
And we weren't doing that. And it's like, no, I don't know. That's
right. Like late in the game, when they were kind of playing a little bit more of a rush style offense or hurry up offense, they were playing a lot more shorter. That's probably the first time I've seen that pretty much all season. Now, get people in rhythm a little bit more earlier versus, like, once again, we've talked about the 20-yard passes plus that Justin Herbert's been doing. I mean, 63 or 64% of his passes this year are 20 yards or more. That's pretty heavy. I understand you want the chunk plays and everything too, but like, sometimes you want to get the rhythm going. That's where, like, Austin Eckler was a really good rhythm kind of guy for you. Just quick dump off in the flat, let him kind of run and do his thing. We literally, I feel like, have not done that hardly at all this year. It's like that's not even a part of the offense, period. Now, I think Kamani Vidal could be that guy. That could be that Austin Eckler guy. I mean, ironically, he's wearing number 30 for us. But I think it's just not even a part of the game. Everything's in front of Justin Herbert. Nothing is behind him by any means.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the defense always could just go back and never play just close by any means. They don't need to at that point.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Yeah, and Eddie says Chargers have been struggling their second half
Oh
offense.
my God.
I said that today. I
Yeah.
was chatting with. He's like, "How you guys the second half?" I'm like, we are horrible the second half.
Terrible.
So, and that's not good. So, yeah, not a good situation. We did score 2 touchdowns last week in the third quarter, but we were awful the whole first half. That's my point. We're not putting together a full game offensively, and again, buck stops on Greg Roman, so we'll see how that plays out. So,
there you go.
Yeah, who's going to?
I'm just going to throw it out there right now. I have the stats of what the Chargers are scoring in the second half.
Yeah,
throw a guess out there. Throw a guess out there.
3 points.
No, I'm saying 3 points.
Oh, you're talking about the whole season?
Yeah,
second half, whole season right now.
Oh, I'd say 30 points.
So average per game, I should say.
Average per game.
Oh, per game. Oh, I'd say.
Okay, well,
10. I'd say 10.
I'll say
no, not 10. 7.
I'll say 5.
Well, it's 9. So
okay,
they are 27th in the league in second half offense.
Oh my God!
So that's not good. That is not good. That'd put you in the same category as the Jets at 20. Well, okay, I'll start it up just a little bit higher. 25th is New England at 9.2. Jets at 9.1, Chargers at 27 at 9, Atlanta at 8.5, New Orleans at 8.4, Carolina 8.4, 8.2 for the Giants, 7.7 for the Titans. So think about that. What is that block of teams? All losing teams at this point. Like, that's not a good category to be in. That's not closing out football. That's not that. What is that term that Jim Harbaugh uses where it's kind of like the extra workout that he does after practices, the extra 30 minutes.
Fourth quarter finishers
or something like that. Yeah. We're not doing that by any means at this point. We have at some point, but this second half of the season, ironically, is correlating to that second half offense being anemic.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. Overall, it's tough. It's tough to watch. I mean, it's not good enough. The defense. You guys all said it great. You guys even said it better than us guys. We're the talking heads here.
Yeah.
But you guys, I mean, in the comments, I've appreciated everything you said. You said it better than us to some degree. The defense just got caught up today, and they just got erased. And then offensively, we just look bad. But again, we've averaged 17 points. But what did I say? Defensive on our pregame, I said our defense was going to step up. We did not step up this week. Right. So that was the biggest problem. So pretty bad. So I'm curious to see where that plays out. But guys, next week, it just means that Broncos game is even more important for us now. I mean, we need to show up and win, guys. We need to win. We need to win.
Well, and the funny thing about it is the Chargers is the first flexed game to Thursday night football. If the NFL is scripted, this is a perfect script happening right now for them, where now you got the two teams, interdivision rivals, to play, to potentially put in that 7th, 8th seed. Well, I should say 6th, 7th, 8th, and 8th seed, if you want to say at this point. Situation kind of get more interesting for the late December type game. So it's a perfect situation for the NFL. But guys, flush this one down the toilet. If we had a sound bite, flush it. Just get it out.
Get it out of our head. Yeah.
Yep. Next game, we got it. This Broncos game is massive for the Chargers and for the Broncos too.
Well, and I do think, we did have that conspiracy conversation around the IR. I think the IR is getting stacked. You wonder if they're putting people on the IR just to get people healthy to come back. J.K. Dobbins, some of these other guys. Who knows? But, my point is, it would just be nice to have some of these guys come back, right? Because, it's pretty interesting. Toilet flush.
Toilet flush.
It gives a little swirl down there, Whoop.
Exactly. Well, let's wrap up our thoughts. I'll give you my thoughts. I mean, look, even coming out in the second half, I thought we were going to show up and we were not going to wet the bed like we did. I personally think the big turning point was some of the play calling on Jesse Minter's part was bad. The 3-man rushes gotta go. I'm sorry. For whatever reason, our team does a very bad job of running those 3-man rushes. They have not been effective. Because I remember I think we ran a couple of times against Patrick Mahomes with 3-man rushes, and he beat us on those as well. Baker Mayfield beat us as well. So whatever reason we did that, Jesse, Minter's part. We should immediately alleviate that. I think secondarily, I think we're better on more of running the ball offensively in more of a fast-paced environment, right? Like no huddle. I think we need to start doing that a little more and just being more. Stop thinking about things, and just go back to being a little bit more fast-paced, up-tempo offense. Yep. I think we're better at that. We didn't even really try that a whole lot this game. Yeah. And I get a little frustrated because I do think that might wake up the offense a little bit. So I'd like to see that happen a little more. But guys, this is go time. This is the Broncos game is big. I'll be flying to Arizona. I want to be happy when I land in Arizona. I don't want to be sad. I want to be happy for Christmas. I don't want to be sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my final thought.
I mean, it was we can't say anything else besides this was just a very ugly game.
Yeah.
And yes, someone did ask if Cam Hart got a concussion. Yes, that was a big thing too. He did get another concussion. So he's probably going to be out this upcoming game against the Broncos. And
which is a bummer.
That's going to be a huge bummer. So we got to make these changes though. Like this, I feel like this game just really exposed us. And so going into this Donkeys game, we got to really make some changes significantly because we can't keep doing the same thing, obviously, because of what happened today. Because if we show up like this against the Broncos, then I don't know, man. The season might be done then. We just completely cooked at that point, and that would piss me off too because all I need is one more win and then I win my bet with Vegas. Yeah. So yeah, so yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like, and me and Larry, we go on halvesies on that one. So like that's our money right there, So yeah. But man. I don't know, man. Like I know a lot of people are losing faith in Herbert and stuff like that, but like we got to still keep the faith on that on the guy. So we know he's got what he needs, but Greg Roman is not using him the way that he needs to be used, though. I think that's the biggest point. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs are one of those teams. I think even you go back to last season, they ended up winning the division at 9-8. They went into the playoffs, beat the Eagles.
They're an interesting team. Team.
Yeah,
and then they almost took out the Lions last season. They are a team that just kind of they turn it on late in the season when you should be turning it on at this point. So the Chargers are a team that, in an organization, I should say, they've tried to figure that out, and they have not figured that out yet. Now, to look forward, you got to beat the Broncos. You got to basically close this one out because you do not want to make it interesting for your team for the next two games. I mean, I don't think we've really truly, and I wouldn't call this game technically a hiccup game because this is an opponent that is good. This is a good team that you just got smoked by the Bucs. I don't think we've had those hiccup games yet this year, so I feel confident we'll win 2 at least to be able to get into the playoffs. I would really much rather go with 3 wins. Not kind of go with this like limping into the playoff type situation at this point. So once again, I will say also the Colts have a very easy schedule ahead of them. And that is a little alarming at this point. And there's a possibility that the Colts could sneak their way in. So Chargers, just handle your business, flush this one down the toilet, on to the next, go out there and beat the Broncos twice. That would be awesome. And that's probably the first time that we would ever done that. And probably I couldn't even remember the last time. And it took forever for us to win one in Mile High. So it's probably 8 years, I think, probably we've been able to sweep them. So,
well, and the good news is this is at home. So, we got to beat these Broncos,
so
man.
You're telling me there's a chance.
And BT's right. They are a strong team.
Yeah.
Eagles, Commanders. They've been, I would say this, BT, but better way of saying it, inconsistent. Right. I even look at like the Falcons, right? The Falcons, man, they're up and down. And like, your offense is great, but your defense is bad, right? So Baker Mayfield has to play well. And if he has too many turnovers, and again, we didn't capitalize on turnovers either, guys. I don't think we got any points off turnovers.
I think we got 1 touchdown, 7 points.
We did? Okay.
Yeah.
Triple clowns. That's right.
Triple clowns, dude.
Triple clowns, baby.
The triple clowns ain't happy, Miguel. I'll tell you what, dude.
That's right.
Triple clowns we ain't happy tonight.
Yep.
So,
and I will say, Kay Jackson just put a comment in there, said it's still been a successful season, something to build off to. And once again, this was a successful season before it even started, in my opinion, just getting Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz on this team. the organization changes alone just for that side is going to set this team up for success down the road. Now, if we end the season 11-6, that is a massive win. If we end the season 11-7 and get to the playoffs, that's a massive success. Personally, I want to see one playoff win. One playoff win, I'd feel very, very good about the season at that point. And for 2025, it's only going to set us up for more success.
Yeah, Nick, we wouldn't beat any team this week with the way we played today.
Not at all.
But again, give it up to the. Hey, they played great. They played great. Mike Evans cooked us. Baker Mayfield played better. There was something missing. You know, they did not have a blue chew to begin the game and no blue chew at the halftime. They were out there playing without boners, right? We need boners. We need boners out there. We need that. We need that testosterone strong. No boners out there. You know what I mean?
Man, all right.
It's a little hard to run with a boner, though. I'll tell you what. I was just saying.
Yep.
Hey,
but you know what? Chad Ochocinco did it all the time, though.
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, but guys, look, there's a lot.
It kept him pointed in the right direction.
True north. Right. That's true north, guys. That's true north. Follow the North Star. That's guys. It's going off the rails. Guys. Right, here we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
YouTube.
Oh yeah. This is a family show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. LOD's like, are you really going to close the show out talking about boners? Like, what's going on?
Whatever. Hey, man, it's cool. It's all good. Okay.
Hey, bolt up, Bolt fam. All right, we're bolting up, dude. Let's
with
go.
The Blue Chews. Hit us up, Blue Chews. Come on, we want to be a sponsor. The perfect sponsorship for us, guys. Come on now, we talk about you guys all the time.
Right.
Anyways, all right, guys. Well, we're the Bolt Bros. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night. LA Thunder in electric delight. Bolts in the battle, sparking bright. Charged up, ride the lightning, feel the fright.